morning, everybody. This is Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations. Welcome back to my channel. I have a fun project that I'm going to share with you today, and then we're going to go into the tutorial and I'm going to show you how to make it. This is a fun kind of a side design team project for Country Craft Creations. This is a collaboration with Bobbie Weaver, who is also one of the designers for Country Craft Creations. I'll leave her YouTube channel information down below so you can go check her out. She contacted me and said, you know, she had this idea, it was a great idea, to do kind of a collaboration project and a swap for each other. So what we did was we went to Country Craft Creations, we purchased the Echo Park Let Freedom Ring paper collection. We each got the same paper collection, and then the idea is that we're going to make each other a project and swap it. So I will get to have an official Bobbie Weaver piece in my collection, which I'm very excited about because I got to tell you, I think of her as kind of the folio queen. She just does amazing folios and the cutest little inserts, and she's just really good at that. And so I'm excited. I think this is going to be really fun. So we each kind of are creating a project for each other, and we're going to share the tutorial with everybody here on YouTube. And again, this is kind of a collaboration between us two, but it's also kind of a side design team project for Country Craft Creations. We're using Echo Park Let Freedom Ring, and it is available. And let me go through the project and then we'll go through the tutorial. So what I did with Bobbie is I have been watching some other videos with some explosion kind of you know, ideas. And so, you know, 4th of July, fireworks, you know, so you know me and my explosion boxes and everything, so I had to kind of go with it. So what I did was I created this folio for her. So I made a shaker front on the front here, and I used these red, white, and blue star pieces that I had in my stash, and everything's going to come out now because I did that. And then I bought the flowers through Country Craft Creations. So these are 49 in market, and then some graphic 45 flowers, so red, white, and blue, kept with the theme. Created this shaker front, and I used a 4x6 cut apart to create the title for it. I used a simple ribbon closure, and the ribbons are from my stash. And then on the spine here, I decided I added some of the shaker pieces just to kind of jazz up the spine, but then what I also did was create this really sweet paper tassel, and I will show you how to make that. This is not my idea. Treasure Books did this, and I will have a link to her tutorial as well, but I'm going to show you how to do that. So that was the inspiration for the tassel that I made. And again, I used the paper from the collection, and I tried to kind of emphasize the kind of explosion theme of it. Now, there's a local craft store that had these great charms, so I added the Statue of Liberty and the flag to that. So that is the spine decoration. This is a folio, and it's a Trifold Folio, so it will open up and do that. And then the back I left plain, except for I put a sticker backed on cardstock on the back. So there is ample opportunity here if you wanted to put a picture back here. So then it ties, and I used 2 different ribbons because I really was trying to emphasize the red, white, and blue. And so I did that. So then when it opens, let me make sure everything's in its right spots here. It opens up first here like this. So you have an accordion pocket here with an insert in here. Over here we have a Staggered Waterfall, and I kind of was playing with one of my waterfall methods that I do in a little bit different manner. So I'm going to show you how to make the Staggered Waterfall, but it does have a slide closure. So this slides down, and then these little pieces open up, and then you have your waterfall. Well, what's different about this waterfall, as you can see, this set here staggers a little bit from this set. They're about 1/4 of an inch off, so it kind of goes at a diagonal, which I was playing with. I thought it was kind of fun. And when you open it up, we have a photo mat. I just left the photo mats here, put pattern paper in the gussets, and then here I adhered a decoration so you could tuck a picture underneath, okay? But here's where the fun is, because when you adhere them down onto the pattern paper, then you have some of the pattern paper showing. Then you have your next waterfall, okay, and then your next waterfall. So that was kind of a fun thing to do. Down here it's open, you can put a picture underneath here, and all of these are adhered so you can tuck a picture underneath here. So you have a lot of room I used the cut-aparts from the collection to decorate those, and then to close it, you just simply line those up and slide that up, and then it closes. Then when you open this up, you have, and I hope you can see this. Yep, you can. You have 3 pockets. Each pocket has a graduated, you know, pocket style, and then you have inserts on the inside. So each one is different. So let me show you the inserts for this. This is kind of fun. So I'm going to put this up here. I'm going to grab the first one here. So this was another tutorial that I had seen in several places on YouTube, and I wanted to play with this. And then I took this idea and I created something else with it. So this one here has a unique closure. So you can see this triangle here. I decorated it with sticker, and then I just fussy cut it after I put some cardstock on it, and then used one of the stickers up here. Well, this just comes off. So it's like one of those giant corner bookmarks. I did make it so that it had a 1/4 inch gusset so that it'll fit right over the folio and keep everything nice and close. So I thought that was kind of a fun, different way, instead of using like a belly band or something like that. So then with this right here, what this does, this is, I've seen it called an infinity card or a never-ending card. So it has a couple different names. But what you do is it opens kind of like an explosion. And then once you get it all opened, you have a 12x6 card that folds up on itself. You have your front panel here. I put the, what is this? This was a die cut on a piece of cardstock. I'm sorry, it's early and I haven't had my full quantity of caffeine yet. I have banners here that I placed so that you could put a picture underneath here. And then this panel here, I used one of the die cuts that I got with the collection, backed it on cardstock, and then created a pocket, and then used a couple of the cut-aparts to stick in that pocket. And then when it folds up, the cool part is that it just kind of folds up on itself like so. Okay, so it opens like this, and then it folds up like that, and it folds up on itself. And then I created this closure to keep it all nice and tidy. So there you have that. So then the next piece that I did was this one. Now this is another kind of explosion type kind of squash card thing, but I did something a little bit different with this too. So I created a belly band, and I put the part of the cut aparts on the front and the back. So this was a banner. So it says, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. So it kind of wraps around the whole thing. I took some of the stickers and I popped them up on tiny pop dots to kind of give it a little bit of dimension. So it just pulls off like this. On the front, I left it plain so you could put a nice big picture here. I put one of the stickers, America the Beautiful, and then this is a squash book. Okay, so it opens up like this. And you have a nice photo mat here and here. I did add another one of the 3x4 cut aparts here, and then it tucks into that piece of ephemera that I got in the design team, or in the package that I purchased. So I do have a video for that, by the way, and I showed what I purchased for this project. So then the fun part is that you turn it over, you flip it right over. It says you're a grand old flag there, and then it opens up again. So you have a double squash book. All right, another photo mat here and another tuck spot here. So then that just closes up, and then you have your belly band. And I did make the belly band a little bit bigger so that if you do put pictures in and it puffs it up a little bit, then, you know, you have ample room to have your photos. So that tucks right in there. And then the last one here is a riff on this explosion card here. So when I was playing with the explosion card, I noticed that when you folded it up, I thought, it could create pockets. So I'm going to show you how to make all 3 of these, but this is the front cover. Again, I used the die cuts here, backed on cardstock, and I fussy cut a couple little stickers here with the balloons and the fireworks. It has a tie closure with another ribbon. Left the back plain so you could put another picture here. All American Family up here and the sticker. And then when you untie it, so what you're going to get are pockets. And this is all based off of what I did here. I just kind of glued some things together in different spots to create the pockets, and then we added some more things. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So you have your pockets. I got the cut-aparts in here. Here's a little die cut, and then I took another die cut, backed it on cardstock, and then I just put a little something there. You have room. You could put a small picture here. Then it opens up. In the middle, I thought it would be kind of fun. This is kind of a layout page, but the fun part with this is where I adhered this part for the stars, you could tuck a picture under here if you wanted to. You could put a picture here and then one here. So there's lots of opportunities for Bobbie to fill this with pictures. So then you have your layout here, and then you open it up again, and you have 2 more pockets. And again, I put more of the cut-aparts backed on cardstock in here. And then here, I did a little tuck here. She can do a little journaling here, and then a little tag here that she can have. So, and then that just closes up. And again, this is basically using the same fold that I used on the first little insert book, the first little explosion book, if you will. And I just put it together a little bit differently, and then you get a booklet like this. So this is my project that I'm going to be sending to Bobbie, and I'm really hoping that she loves it. Oh, I was going to tell you on the front of these pockets, I loved kind of the American flags, and then I also wanted to kind of break it up because the patterns were a little bit, you know, there's a lot of pattern in this paper. So I took some of the blue cardstock that I had left over and punched it and then just made borders. So I think that kind of broke it up just a little bit. I did use artisan cardstock throughout. I used red for the main colors. I used white. I used baby blue and navy blue. So all of that is available at Country Craft Creations. No magnets in this at all. Did a lot of ribbon ties. You could use seam binding, any ribbon that you have. The flowers are from Country Craft Creations. The shaker elements were from my stash. So there's that. I did have beads for my tassel, but you definitely don't need to use beads if you don't want to. The charms were from my stash. So with that, I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to grab my tutorial stuff, and let's get started learning how to make this. It's actually very, very simple to do. For the folio, you're just going to need 3 pieces of paper, and for the tutorial purposes, I'm using my white artisan cardstock. And the fun part about this book is that as we put this together, there's only really 1 page that you definitely have to put pattern paper down first before you add things, and I will show you that. But the rest of it, you can put it together, and if you wanted to do that and then have it off to the side for a quick gift, if you need, you know, a quick gift, you can have a blank available and then just kind of put it together and you'll be ready to go, and it'll be super easy. But this is really easy to put together. So the folio here, you need 1 piece that's 9 by 7.5, 1 piece that's 9 3/4 by 7.5, and 1 piece that's 8 1/4 by 7.5. I'll put that off to the side. And then I'm going to grab my scoreboard, and we're going to grab our pieces. Let's start with, I don't know what is there. Okay, so we're going to grab our scoreboard, and we're going to put this piece in here. So this is the 8 1/4 by 7.5. And all we're going to do with this one is we're going to score at 7.5. Just 1 score on this piece, okay? The 8 1/4 score at 7.5. Then we're going to grab the next piece, which is the 9 by 7.5. We're going to score this again at 7.5, just 1 score on this side. And then we're going to take the largest piece, the longest piece, excuse me, I can't talk, 9 3/4 by 7.5. And this one we're going to score in 2 different spots. We're going to score at 1.5, and we're going to score at 9. Okay? Then you're going to fold and burnish, and these are going to just adhere to each other and make the base for our folio. So pretty easy. There's no chipboard in this project. You don't need it. Once you get your pattern papers on, especially if you matte, or double matte, I should say, the front covers, which is what I did. I double matted with white artisan cardstock, and then I used the pattern paper here. It's going to be very sturdy, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, so then we're just going to line these up. So how this is going to go is the 1.5 inch spine will go on the left, and the 3/4 inch spine will go on the right. Okay, so we're going to just glue those together, and I'm going to glue them just right on top of each other. So this is a real simple construction. You don't have to miter anything. So I'm just going to put my glue down here, and we're going to line this up, and we'll glue that down. Just make sure everything's straight, and make sure you don't go into your scores. Sorry for that reach. Like so. Okay, and do the same thing over here. So we're just going to glue that right on top. And this is going to create your folio. You're going to have 3/4 of an inch gusset kind of between your folio pages. So it's going to work out. I'm going to turn it this way just so I can see it better. Don't go into the score lines, just go right to the score lines. Okay, just glue those together. And that is that. Burnish it down. And then I'm going to trim a little bit because I can see that there's just a hair of an overhang right there. So I'm just going to trim that, make sure that my spines are nice and even. Okay. Scissors there. Burnish that down. Okay. All right, so we have our folio. So when you fold it up, you're going to have a folio that's going to look like this from the top, okay? So you have your 1.5 inch here, and you have your 3/4 inch here, okay? So that's the folio part. Put that off to the side. And then we're gonna grab our pockets. Now I did 2 of the pockets already. We'll do the 3rd one on camera here. So I'm going to put that there. The pockets, you'll need 3 pieces that are 10.5 by 3.5. And we're going to make just simple gusseted pockets, like so. So I already did 2. We'll do the 3rd together, and then we'll put them in the book. So you're going to take your paper, 10.5 at the top, and you're going to score at 1/2, 1, 1.5, and then you're going to score at 9, 9.5, and 10. Okay, 1/2, 1, 1.5, 9, 9.5, 10. And then turn it on its side, and on one side we're going to score at 3. Okay, so simple accordion pocket. Then grab your scissors, and at the top edges through the 3 scores, we're gonna just cut just a little miter. Okay, just a little bit. You don't have to do too much. And then you're going to go down below, and where these 3 squares are, we're going to cut those out. So we're just going to slightly miter down here. And then we'll miter the bottom. Okay, so you should have something that looks like that. We're going to do that again. Okay, get rid of this. So that's what you'll have. Then we're going to fold our pieces in. So we're going to fold accordion style, okay? And just make sure when you fold them up that the sides are inside, okay? So sometimes when we do this, the accordions might want to be a little bit showing. You know, you want it even here. You want an even edge. All right, so we're going to do that on both sides. And then just make sure that they go the way inside, all right? And then fold the bottom up. So we'll fold that up. Okay. Then this is where I like to get my clips. So what we're going to do is put a little bit of glue and then fold that up. A little bit of glue and fold that up. Okay, so just put a little bit of glue here, and then we're going to fold this up and burnish that down so it'll glue, and we'll hold that. So that's our accordion pocket. So while that dries, we'll grab our folio, making sure that we have the 1.5 inch on the left side. And well, actually, you don't have to worry about that yet because yeah, you do, because you don't want to put your pockets on upside down, do you? Okay, it's early. Okay, So then we're just going to glue these down. So you're just going to put glue on the 1/2 inch pieces here and glue them down at the bottom of the folio. And then when I did this, I did put pattern paper all the way to the bottom on these because I wanted to cover up these tabs. All right, and then it also, because it's a folio and there's no cardstock, will add extra stability to your project. Okay, so we're just going to glue those down and making sure that they fit right in and not go over your scores. Okay. Burnish that down. Okay, and then you have your pocket. All right, so we're just going to do that 2 more times. And you're going to have a pocket on the inside of your piece. So glue on the 1/2 inch pieces of your pocket. And this one's going to go in the middle panel here. So we're just going to lay that down. And that's going to fit right in between our score lines nicely. And glue that down. Okay, so this is why I was saying that you can go ahead and, you could create blanks of this. And then you can pattern them later. It works out pretty well. Okay. Then we have this piece here, which we'll go ahead and glue down. Then our pockets are done. It's a very simple construction to this album, or to this folio, I should say. The insert pieces are the fun part. I had really a lot of fun playing with kind of the explosion type albums or squash books, as they're sometimes called. Depends on where you see them. They're fun. And then the theme, of course, 4th of July. I thought it was perfect. All right. Okay, so we should have 3 pockets down, so then they'll fold like that. All right, next piece is we're going to work on our Staggered Waterfall now. So the Staggered Waterfall goes right here because I didn't want to leave this blank. I wanted something there, but I didn't want to do yet another pocket. I wanted the pockets kind of on the inside. So the Staggered Waterfall, there's a couple things you will need for this. Let's put this off to the side for just a second. So you will need, for the waterfalls, you will need 3 pieces that are 8.5 by 6. You will need for the closure 2 pieces that are 4.5 by 1.5, and then you will need a piece that's 3 3/4 by 2. Excuse me, 3 3/4 by 2, and that's going to be the slider piece. Okay, so we'll put that off to the side, and we have our pieces here. And then this is for demonstration purposes, so I can show you how to put the waterfalls down. So let's score our pieces first. Let's start with our pages. All 3 pages are scored the same. 8.5 at the top by 6, and you're going to score at 4 and 4.5. That's all you're going to do for all 3 of the waterfall pieces. Then for your closure pieces, you have 2 that are 4.5 by 1.5 with the 4.5 at the top. You'll score at half. Do that for both pieces. And then for your closure slider piece, you're going to put it in your scoreboard and you're going to score at 1 and at 2 3/4. Okay, 1 and 2 3/4. So that will be that. So let's put this to the side, and then let's grab our books. The very first thing you're going to want to do is add your closure pieces. Okay, so this is the front, or the piece where we're going to put our waterfall. And again, this is going, when you open up the folio, it's going to go right here. Okay, and we're going to stagger this. Now you don't have to stagger this if you don't want to, but I did because I thought it was kind of cool. I wanted to play with the idea that I had. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing you're going to want to do is grab your closure pieces, and we'll fold and burnish, and then we're going to just center them on the page for the closure. Okay, so these are going to go at the top and the bottom. Grab our ruler so we can center this properly. Pages are 7.5, so it should, the centers should be 3 3/4 from the middle, from the 0 point there. And you're just going to put glue on your little half tab, and we're going to glue this down, and they should line up at like 3/4 of an inch from the center. Okay, and then just burnish that down. Okay, second piece. Now you don't have to measure this one this time. All you have to do is line it up with the one you just placed. And then line it up at the edge so that it's nice and straight. Okay. Making sure that it's nice and straight. Okay. Like so. Okay. So that's that. And then the slider piece, we're just going to fold like so. And then here, it's going to overlap about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here and close that up. Just make sure that you keep the tube. You want the tube. If you glue it closed, then it's not going to work because it won't slide, right? So we have that. Then I just put pattern paper on both sides to decorate it, but then this just slides on the piece, and it's going to feel pretty loose. But when you put pattern paper on both sides of this, it will thicken up a little bit, and then this will just slide over the pieces, and then that's going to be your closure, okay? So it does feel a little bit loose right now, but don't panic. Once you get your pattern paper on, it will be really awesome, okay? So we're going to just move that. Okay, next thing you need to do, now this is the only thing that you have to put pattern paper on first. Everything else you can just add and then decorate it later. But I just took this piece of orange paper just so I thought it would be really easy to see on camera. And then I'm going to grab some repositional tape because I'm not going to use this when I redo this album. But you're going to grab a piece that's 7 3/8 by 7 3/8. And I'm just going to put a little repositional tape on here. And this is really nice for using when I'm designing. I started using it so I can kind of tack things down and see how they look, but then it comes right up, okay? But in real life, if you're making the album, you know, obviously you want to use more permanent stuff, but I'm just doing this for now, okay? So that part's done. So then the next thing, grab your pages, and we do need to fold and burnish. So we're going to fold those, and they'll have a 1/2 inch gusset. And make sure they're straight. There we go. Okay, so you have your 3 pages. Now here's how we're going to do this. What we're going to do is we're going to start at the one that's going to sit most at the top. So this one's going to be kind of most towards the upper left corner of your page. And what I ended up doing, and this was kind of a great way to use the spacers. If you have your spacers from Country Craft Creations, these are awesome. You can use a ruler as well, but these are awesome because you can use these to help kind of space things out. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to just use my clips. This is the 1/2 inch spacer. I'm going to just use my clips, and I'm going to clip it right here. And then I'm going to do this here at the top so that I have kind of a 1/2 inch border, top and bottom, and I'm going to the edge of the white cardstock, okay? Just to the edge of the white cardstock. I'm going to turn it to the side, and then what I'm going to do, this is what I did. Now you can use your ruler as well, and on the bottom I'll show you how to use the ruler, but I just kind of thinking this was kind of fun to use the spacers as well. So put glue on the 1/2 inch, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to line this up 1/2 inch and glue that down. Okay, so now you can take these off because they're just basically for measurement. Okay, and then line this up, or excuse me, miter it down. Boy, I really need more caffeine, I think. Okay, so just like that. Okay, so now the reason why I did this is because I wanted the pattern paper to show through from the back side. Okay, so it'll be a kind of a nice contrast. So if you look at this, do our slider here. Okay, so you see the pattern paper there. You have your background paper here. Okay, we have our usual 1/2 inch here where you can put extra pattern paper and kind of contrast everything. So I decided to go with the more white paper here against the blue. But then when you do this, you have the back of the pattern paper to show as well. So that's why I did this, and I thought it was kind of a fun thing to do. I've played with a lot of different combinations with how I've been doing my waterfalls lately, and I just thought this was kind of fun. And then I liked kind of the staggered thing because it's just a little bit different. Okay, so we have our first one down. So now we're going to do the bottom one next. Okay, this bottom one again is going to have from the edge of the page, so the 7.5 inch page, and the bottom edge we're going to do 1/2 inch borders on these two sides. Okay, so if you're going to use your ruler, then you would just line up your ruler right at the score and make sure that you were at the edge of your book. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we'll just line that up just like so and glue that right here. Okay, so again, put glue on the 1/2 inch spine of your little waterfall piece. And yes, I will have to make more waterfalls for this, but I wanted to demonstrate this, and then I'm going to save this as a pattern. So there you go. And then we're going to put that down right there and glue that down here. Okay, so you got your 1/2 inch border here, 1/2 inch border here, just like we did up here, 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch, and you can see how it staggers. So then, so you can have the two different methods of doing it. Okay, we're going to burnish that down. All right, so then we had to do the middle piece. The middle piece, the way that I designed it in this book, basically you're going to have a 1/2 inch in between the pages. Okay, so if you take your spacer, there's a 1/2 inch in between there. So we're just going to kind of glue that right in the middle at the 1/2 inch. So you can use your ruler if you want, okay, and do the 1/2 inch here. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to glue it down so it's about a 1/4 inch from this, God, does this make sense? I'm fighting with my words. So I've got the ruler so that there's a 1/2 inch here, okay, and you're just going to lay this down a 1/4 inch from here. Okay, so it'll stagger a 1/4 inch in, and this will stagger about a 1/4 inch in. Okay, so you can eyeball it as well if you want, if you're better at eyeballing it, so you can just kind of like see how it fits here and here. But I'm going to use my ruler and do that. So I'm going to put my glue on here again, and then I'm going to just line this up. So I've got my 1/2 inch mark, and I'm going to line it up so I know where the 1/4 inch is, make sure it's nice and straight, and then lay that down. Okay, and then we'll pop that down like so, and ta-da, we have a staggered waterfall that you will have your background paper showing as well, and then you'll have this nice little kind of staggered presentation. Okay, and then just to close it up, we'll just do this, and there you go. So when you fold this up, it will go like that, and then it'll go like that. So that is that. So the folio basically is done. The only other thing you need to do is put your ribbon on here before you put your pattern paper down for closure, if you want a closure. And now you can just decorate this any way you choose. So this is ready to go. Let's work on the inserts now. These inserts are so fun to make, and they are so easy to make. You're going to love this. I think you're just absolutely going to love this. So this is the kind of infinity card book, and this is the first one that we're going to make. So this is the one with the diagonal kind of bookmark closure. I'm not sure what to call it, but my diagonal closure here. Diagonal belly band? I don't know. But there you go, the bookmark closure. So we're going to make this. So you will need one piece that's 12 by 12, you'll need 4 pieces that are 6 by 6 and 1 piece that's 8 by 8. So the 8 by 8 is our closure piece. All right, so the 6 by 6, there's no scoring, so you just need 4 of those to make panels. And then you need your big piece that is 12 by 12. So what you're going to do is grab your scoreboard, and you're going to put it in your scoreboard, and you're going to score at 6, turn it, score at 6. Now this is the hard part with this one, is that you have to get 1 diagonal score in this 12 by 12, okay? So you need a long something in order to do that with, or you can just fold it and do it that way. But if you want to score, then just grab, I have this really long 18-inch ruler, which works, and just go corner to corner here, okay? And just make sure you're there, and then just go ahead and do a score. It's not going to be like the best score, excuse me, because you know you don't have the channel, but it'll get the job done. Okay, so once you have that, oh, you're going to do it on both sides. I'm sorry. So you got to do it corner to corner on both sides. Good gravy. Okay, I have my tea. I'm good to go now. Where is my Bigfoot coaster? Here we go. There we go. My Oregon cup and my Bigfoot coaster. So there you go. All right. So let's go over this again just real quick. So put it in your scoreboard. Score at 6. Score at 6. And then you're going to do 2 diagonals. You're going to score diagonally here, and you're going to score diagonally here. Okay. And then we're going to fold. So when you fold the straight lines, you know, that are not the diagonal lines, just make sure that you get your corners nice and straight and everything's good. So we'll fold those this way. And this is going to be kind of like a squash book. If you've had a squash book, you've made those. I've done those with my explosion board, my explosion box board. We're just going to turn this over because you want the scores to go the opposite direction with the diagonal, okay? And then you're going to just fold it over, match your points, okay? And just try and get them as square as possible. And then from this, go from the center out, okay, when you do that, because that will give you the best diagonal score, okay? So just make sure your points are good. Go to the center out. All right, and we'll do that again on the other side. Okay, so I'm just gonna fold the corners. Since this is 12 by 12, it does get a little bit big. Okay, and then just make sure you're in the center. Okay, try and get it as even as you absolutely can. And then go from the center out, okay? All right, so we have our piece, all right? So it should look like that, okay? Then what we're gonna do is take our scissors and we're gonna make 1 cut, all right? So one of the straight lines you're going to cut, and you're gonna, I cut my scores out just so that they are gone and I don't have to look at them. So I'm just gonna go just on the other side of the score. And you're just going to cut, it's just going to be like a teeny tiny little sliver, and it's not going to matter. I can get my fingers to work. Okay, so you see that teeny tiny little sliver, we're just cutting that score out. Take that out, and then you're going to end up with a piece like this. So this is the fun part. Okay, so the diagonals you want pointed up because that's going to be this is going to be the front of the card. So when you open it up, it'll lay like this, but when you fold it up, this is how the mechanism works. So it folds up like this, and then like this, and then you have your card. And this is where you can trim. Once you fold it up, if you have a funky edge from cutting that sliver out, you can kind of trim that up. Okay, make that nice and neat. That's how that goes. So fold it up, and burnish your folds really well, okay? And then when you hold it, when you open it, this is how it's going to open, okay? It's going to have pages on it, so don't panic. You can still have stuff to do, but it'll open up like this. So that's how that mechanism works. Is that not the coolest thing you've ever seen or what? So now what we're going to do, this is the base of it. None of this is going to show, so we're not going to put pattern paper on this or anything. You have your 4 pieces of paper. So now what we need to do is we need to glue these down. So when you glue these down, we're going to glue them in. You're not going to glue down all of them. So we're going to glue here, here. You're doing the opposite ones, okay? And this one here, we're going to glue it all the way down because this page doesn't really need to fold, okay? So we're going to glue the whole thing. So grab your glue, and I'm going to trim that up just a little bit because I just don't like the way that looks. I'm just going to straighten it out. Even though it's the base, I want it to be kind of straight, okay? I'm just going to trim that up. There we go. All right. Yeah, I like that more better. Okay, so grab your glue, and we're going to put glue right here on this triangle only. Leave the other triangle open because that is the mechanism. And then what we're going to do is just put this down. We're going to line this up right on top, okay? Our 6-inch page. 6 by 6, okay? So when you flip this over, it should be glued down like so, okay? Like that. Next one, we're going to do the same kind of thing, except for we're only going to glue here on this triangle. And if it's easier, you can flip this back so you can see the score lines. You don't want to go in the score lines, so we're going to just glue this page down. Line that up really nice. Okay. All right. And then you can flip, because of the scoring, you can flip that over. Okay, so now you have the 2 panels glued there in the opposite directions, okay? So we can flip that over so you can see your nice triangle here. And the thing about this is you can make this any size you want. If you wanted to make a smaller one, you just have to, you know, make a smaller square and, you know, make your panels accordingly. So I wanted it as big as I could make it with a 12 by 12 paper. So that's, you know, 6 by 6 is what I ended up doing, you know, for the book. So I thought that was perfect. But you can do this, oops, a little bit too far up there. You can do this any size square you want, which is fun. Okay, so glue that down. Okay. And then you can flip it over because of the nature of the scores. You can just flip that over and make sure that it's burnished really well. Okay, there we go. So when you open it up, now you have the 3 panels. The last panel will just glue directly on top of that. So we're just going to put glue on this panel, and then you're going to cover the back side with pattern paper and, you know, extra cardstock if you want to double mat it or whatever. But the back page here, the back of this, does not need to have a flip. All right, so I'm going to just lay that down. Try not to get it in the scores. Glue that down all the way. All right. So this is your book. So when you fold this up, this will be the front. Right here is the front. I'm going to throw that. I have to throw something every video. I swear I do. So this is the front. So then it'll just fold up like so. And then like so. And then like so. We marked this because I want to show you something. So this is the F, okay, so that means front. Okay, when you fold this up, it will fold up, the mechanism will fold up like that, and then it'll fold up like this, and then it'll fold down like this. Now I want you to notice something. The F is now sideways. So when you put your pattern paper on the front, make sure that it's something that's not very directional, because you're going to end up having it kind of, you know, sideways if you do. So that is one thing that you have to be aware of with this. So use something that's more non-directional, and then this is the piece that you can actually, you know, decorate and, you know, make it so that that makes it more like a cover. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So then when you open it up, it just opens up like this and like this and like this. And then when you have it all the way open, so it's kind of like one big 12 by 12 layout in a way. Okay. So there's that. Now let's make the closure for this, the bookmark closure. And I think I must have trimmed my papers a little bit wonky. I'm going to trim that up a little bit. But anyway, so you have your 8x8 piece of paper, and it's going to go in your, whoops, it's not going to go on your scoreboard like that. It's going to go like diagonal. So this is 8x8 so that you can totally put it in your scoreboard diagonally and use your scoreboard for this, which is totally a lot easier to do. Like so. Line up your points and do that. That's why I have the pink Sharpie line down the middle, so that I can do that with these things. And then what we're going to do is cut out one of the triangles, and it doesn't matter which one you want or which one you cut. Just pick one. Cut that out. And I'm going just on the other side of the score so that it just cuts that score out. All right. So cut one completely out. I'm trying to turn it so I can see the score. Okay, just like so. And then what you're going to do is grab your scoreboard and you're going to put it back in here. But what you're going to do is line up your points, again, on the diagonal. And then on the two sides that kind of are free floating here, we're going to go 1/4 of an inch. So I have it lined up at the 6-inch mark with my center diagonal. I'm just going to go on the 1/4 of an inch here and score that. And you're going to do that on both sides. So I'm going to line this up at the 6-inch mark for the center score. And then I'm just going to go 1/4 of an inch on this leaf part here. And go 1/4 of an inch. Okay, and I did 1/4 of an inch because I wanted room for expansion with things that I was going to put in the album, you know, as far as pattern papers and cardstocks and everything. And then also once the pictures get in there, you know, you need more room. So I wanted to make sure that this was going to have a little bit of a gusset to, you know, accommodate that. So then just fold and burnish your score lines like so. Make sure your diagonal ones that goes completely point to point line up with the sides with your edges, and then fold it 1/4 of an inch. Okay, and fold and burnish that, and that should line up pretty good. All right, and then you're simply just going to glue those two pieces together like so. So the back will be, if you can see that, a little 1/4 of an inch. There's going to be a 1/4 of an inch difference between this triangle and this triangle. Okay. If it bothers you, you can cut that off and make it even. It didn't bother me at all. And actually I kind of liked it because it kind of helped when you put it on the book to do the closure. So that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to line this up after I glue it and glue it down. And I'm just going to line those two triangles up with the edges here, like so. And then I'm going to go in with my bone folder and just kind of burnish that down. And then that's going to create this kind of bookmark closure. Yeah, I think I'll call it my bookmark closure. There, like that. Kind of a tweak on the belly band. Okay, so you have the front is the longer side for me, and then the back, which is the shorter side. So when you use pattern paper to do this, measure your longer side. So your longer side should measure 5 and, once we get this all folded and everything, 5 and 5/8. Okay, so the side is 5 and 5/8. So if you cut a square that's 5 and 3/8 by 5 and 3/8, cut it in a diagonal. One piece will cover this, and then the other piece you'll just trim down a little bit to cover this side. Okay, that's all you have to do. And then you can decorate it to your heart's content. All right, so then your book remembering that our F is going to be sideways, well, it'll close just like that. And I am going to trim those because somehow, either that or I scored it wonky because I was in a hurry. But anyway, your book should line up and should be nice and straight. And mine somehow ended up a little bit crooked. But anyway, so ignore that part. But anyway, that's how this is going to go, just like so. So that's the first book. The second book is the Double Explosion Squash Card. And this one's really easy to make. So you'll need 2 pieces that are 12 by 12. And for your belly band, you'll need a piece that's 2 by 12 and a piece that's 2 by 6 1/4. Okay, so we're just going to make the traditional squash book. All right, so I did one already. We'll do one now with you, and then we'll do the belly band for that. All right, so in your scoreboard, you're going to, excuse me, put it in your scoreboard. You're going to score at 6, and then you're going to turn it, and you're going to score at 6. And then on one diagonal only one, we're going to take our ruler. We're going to flip this over because you want the diagonal to go the opposite direction, okay? And you're going to line up your ruler corner to corner on one diagonal only. The other one we did 2. This one you'll do 1. Okay, all the way down. Then we'll fold. So folding with your score lines. So the straight scores will go one way. Okay, they'll both go one way. And the diagonal will go the opposite. All right, so we're going to flip our piece over, and then we'll do our diagonal score. And again, just line that up. Make sure everything matches. Like so. Okay. And then you're going to fold it up and create your squash book. So when you fold it up, you want the diagonal scores to go to the inside. Okay, so they'll just fold up like that. They should meet perfectly in the middle. And then lay it down. Okay, just like that. So you have your squash book. So you're going to take your squash books. They'll both open the same direction. So this one's going to open like this. And when we turn our book over, when we just turn our book, this one will open in the same direction. Okay, so you want to glue them together so that'll do that. Kind of like a do-si-do book almost. So making sure that we have our directions the way we want them. I'm just going to put glue here. Now there's a couple different things that I thought you could do with this too. You could glue it on 3 sides and create a pocket in the middle of this, which would be fun to have a tag sticking out of the top. You could also add a hinge and make it like a book. You could do that. So there's a couple different methods that you could do to put these together, but just as long as one side opens up like so, and then when you turn it, the other side opens like so. Okay. Then you're going to grab your belly band pieces. So this first piece is 2 by 12, and we're going to score at 2 5/8 and at 2 7/8, at 9 1/8 and 9 3/8. And then you're going to have this piece. It does not require scoring. That's 2 by 6 1/4. Okay. So to do this, we're just going to fold and burnish, and then the back, this piece that isn't scored will just cover the back and connect the 2 sides because it's not going to be long enough to go around. So you have to have kind of a connector to make that happen. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it so that it's flat. So on one side I'll have the 1/4 inch score up, but the other side I'll have the 1/4 inch score down on the bottom. I'm going to grab the glue and just put the glue on the panels here. And I didn't miter them or anything. I didn't think you needed to. And then we're just going to put glue on these panels back here. Don't put glue on your 1/4 inch gusset. Okay, and we're going to just line this up and lay it down, making sure everything matches and everything's nice and flat. Okay. Okay, there it is. And then I'm going to fold it back the other direction, just make sure everything is good. All right, so there's our belly band, and that's what's going to close this book. All right, so I'll just slip through the top. Now, yeah, and you'll have, again, a little bit of extra room. It's going to be a little bit loose, but we got to make room for pattern paper, for any mats that you want to put on here, any pictures that are going to be added. So once that all happens, you are going to want the extra room. It's going to be a little bit loose right now, but that's okay. To cover these panels, so obviously these are 6 by 6. So I used 5 7/8 by 5 7/8 to cover these. For the triangles here, what you're going to want to do, since this is 6 inches, so since this square is 6 inches, you're going to want to go in for a triangle, go in 1/4 of an inch. So instead of cutting it at 5 7/8 like you're going to do for the full panel, you'll cut your pattern paper at 5 3/4. Okay, so 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and then cut that at the diagonal, and then put that down. That will give you a really nice, let me grab that particular book. That will give you a really nice coverage with the proper borders for your papers. Just make sure that when you do this, if it's a directional paper, you cut them properly so that they, the directions are good. So, and I did, for each one, 2 squares that were 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and I cut them at the diagonals and then just staggered them to create that kind of explosion effect. So that's how I covered those. And that's super easy to do. And then you'll have this really cute explosion book, squash explosion book for your 4th of July book. Okay, so there's that. And the last part is going to be similar to the first book we made. Okay, so this is going to be, I'm calling it my infinity card pocketbook. You will need the same pieces, but we're going to put them together a little bit different. So you need 1 piece that's 12 by 12 and 4 pieces that are 6 by 6. And the 6 by 6, no scoring. We're going to score the 12 by 12 the same exact way. Okay, you're going to put it in your scoreboard. You're going to score it 6 and at 6. And then you're going to do the diagonal scores corner to corner on both sides. And I did it the opposite. So I turned it over 6 by 6. Okay, and then we're going to fold and burnish just like we did on the first book. Okay, we're even going to make the cut the exact same way as we did on the first book. And then I'll show you what gave me my idea. So as I was making that other card, something clicked and I was just like, ooh, I could do this. And you guys know me, my configurations that I like to do. So I'm going to turn this over. Lining it up. Oh my goodness, I hope you guys can't hear. My tummy is growling. I'm getting hungry. All right, so there you have that, like so. Okay, so we have that, and then we're gonna do the cut just like we did the other way, or the other, what did I do here? Oh, I did it, didn't I? I didn't, I folded one the wrong way. That goes like that, that goes like that. Yeah, I folded one the opposite direction. Okay, so let's redo that. Let's make sure the folds are the right way. You guys are probably screaming at me and I was talking and not paying attention. Okay, so yeah, that's what I want. Okay. I'm gonna leave that in maybe. We'll see. All right, so then cut your score out. Let's see if I can do a better job of doing that this time. But that's okay because this is kind of a base and you can trim it and it works out fine. So I'm just cutting my score out, just that nice little slit. It does get a little fiddly with all the folds in here because it just kind of flops a little bit more than it would if it wasn't scored. All right, let's take that out. All right, so we have our book. So when I was playing with this, and I was just like, well, okay, so we fold it up, right, with the mechanism, right? And if you fold it all the way up, I was like, look at that. I think I just made pockets. So if I turn it, then this is where I got the pocket idea. So I was like, this could work. So I'm going to trim. Actually, what I'm going to do, let's burnish these down. Okay. Burnish these down. And then I'm going to just kind of just trim that up just a wee bit so that it's nice and pretty. Okay. So I want you to grab your book. When it's all folded up, you should have 4 triangles that look like this. So you'll have folded edges here and you'll have open edges down at the bottom. Okay. So put it so that the folded edges are like so. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to glue the flaps down. So you're going to take all of these flaps. We're going to just glue that flap down. Okay, I'll do this kind of quick. So then it just makes this so it's one piece. Okay, so then open it up to the next square. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just glue all of these down. Yeah, this is where I got the idea. I was playing with the fold. And I was just like, look at that. So I just glue that down. Okay, do it again. Okay. And then the last one, we'll do the same thing. So we're going to glue all of the triangles down together. Like so. I'm doing this kind of quickly. All right. Okay, so now what you should have is a piece that looks like this, kind of like a half of a Christmas tree, okay? So then that's where these pieces come in, because what we're going to do is we're going to glue one to the back on 3 sides, okay? And glue one to the front on 3 sides, okay? So you see where I'm going with this? And then the middle pieces, we will glue these here on 3 sides. Or excuse me, 2 sides. 2 sides, it's triangle, 2 sides. And then that's going to create our pockets, and that's going to create our book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these out for a second. I'm going to put glue on the edge of my triangle, not the folded edge. I want the cut edge, the straight edges, not the diagonal, okay? And we're just going to line this up. Okay, and glue that down. And, oops. A little bit crooked there. And that's going to create a pocket. Okay, like so. And that will be the front cover of our book. Okay, so then we'll need one here because I have them matching. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this over. Get that out of the way. Oh, I feel like I'm fumbly today. Sorry, guys. I'm going to line this up nice and straight and then just glue that down. All right. So now we have 2 pockets here, right? One here and one here. So then when you open this book up, then the next 2 pages are going to be my layout page. So we're going to put another page right here. That's going to be the layout page. So we're basically doing it the opposite now. We're doing it so that the pockets are going to be on the other side of this. All right. So I'm going to, again, I'm going to turn this just so I can see it better into the score, kind of lining everything up. I also haven't done anything with my hair today either, so I don't want to get it in the camera because I don't want you to see it. like that. All right, and then we got to put our back page on, and that's it. And then decorate and do everything to your heart's content. So we're just going to do this. We're going to add our last page, making sure everything lines up nice and pretty. Like so. And there's our book. So you have your 2 front pockets, you have your layout page, and then you have your other 2 pockets. Okay, so again, that is this book here. So when you open it up, I did add a tie closure before I put pattern paper and things on the front, and I did wrap it around the spine just because I felt like it. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I just had this one giant length of ribbon, and I thought it looked kind of pretty because the edge is going to be unfinished. Okay, it's going to just look like the folds there, which is fine. And then you open it up, you have your pockets, you have your layout page, and then you have 2 more pockets, and then the back of your book. So it's a cute little album. It can hold a ton of pictures. So that's that particular book. That's the Infinity Card Pocketbook is what I'm calling that. So there's all the essential pieces here. So if we, you know, add them to our book, all right, so we have this folio. So here is the pocket page one. I put that in there. These can go in any order you want. The belly band page or book goes in here, and then our infinity card with the bookmark pocket goes in here, and then it folds up. You have your Staggered Waterfall, and again, don't worry that this is going to be a little loosey-goosey right now because it will fill up when you put your pattern papers on. Okay, and then it folds like this. You'll put your ribbon on there for your closure and then decorate it, and that is the folio. That is the deal. I made this paper tassel to go as a decoration for the spine of this book, and it was really super simple to do. So once I did decorate everything, I did punch a hole and set an eyelet just right in the middle of the spine, and it's not going to bother anything at all. I used a jump ring to put through the hole, and then that's how I attached all the pieces. So this is made with a piece of twine, and there's some gems, and then there's a paper tassel. Now there's 101 different ways of making these. I'm just going to show you real quick how I did it, but the inspiration came from treasure books, and I'll have a link down below. But this is just really, really cute, I think, and I'm going to do something just a little bit different. I'm not going to put all the jewels on here this time. We're going to make a different one, and I think I might attach it to this too and just add it as an added piece to it. But anyway, I'll put a link down below for how she did all this. I'm going to show you a little simplified method of doing it. So you need a piece of paper. It can be any size you want. It can be, you know, 6 by 6. It can be scraps. It can be whatever you want. And I think I'm going to keep this as 6 by 6 just for purposes of showing you. The first thing on the back side, so whatever is going to be on the inside of your tassel here, I'm going to call the back side. So on the back side, you're going to take your ruler and your pencil, and we're just going to draw a 1/2 inch line. So you're going to line it up at the top and draw a 1/2 inch line all the way across, and then on the right side you're going to do the same thing. So line it up and draw a 1/2 inch line, and then you're going to take your scissors, and I'm going to throw my pencil in the garbage while I'm at it because that's what I do, and you're going to just cut the 1/2 inch line up from the left hand side up to that corner, and then you're going to cut that out. If you cut it all the way through like you're supposed to. Okay, so you should have a piece like this. So you have a 1/2 inch piece up here that we drew with the pencil line. You have this little square here, and then you have your papers down here. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to grab my score tape, and I am going to put this on the top 1/2 inch line here. And I'm not going to go and put it in here because we're going to need this to start our rolling process, okay? And then you're just going to take your scissors, and we're going to cut up all of these. You know, you can do about 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch. I think, you know, kind of erring on the side of smaller is pretty good, but, you know, however you want to do it, it doesn't have to be even, doesn't have to be perfect, but don't go through that pencil line at the top, okay? You want that 1/2 inch to remain intact. So we're just going to cut This is going to be kind of easy to kind of keep it straight because the stripes in the paper. Okay. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. So in the link, you'll see how she does it, but there's another way that we can attach, you know, some fun elements so that you can attach it to your book. And I just think these are kind of fun to make. I've been playing with making a bunch of them, and I've been kind of playing with different things, and they're fun. They are absolutely fun to do. So, and you just need a couple little pieces of maybe ribbon, or you can have extra scraps of paper. You can use leftovers. You can trim this as tall or as short as you want, which is pretty fun. Okay. I'm going to finish this. I'll be right back. So I have all of the tassel pieces cut. So they're roughly somewhere around maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. It doesn't really matter how wide you cut it. Just don't go too super wide, but I think maybe 1/8 of an inch, you know, is pretty good. And then anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to just kind of curl that just a little bit just to get it started. And then I'm using just a skewer for barbecuing, for making kebabs and stuff. And I'm just going to roll this around that skewer. And what you're going to do is just roll this up, kind of quilling it, if you will. Okay. So I'm just going to get it started before I take the tape off and just make sure that I got it even and nice. And then I'm going to start peeling this tape away and roll this up. And I'm just going to try and keep it even. It's okay if it's not. You can fiddle with it a little bit as you do it. And then just roll that around your skewer. Like so, okay? So you can see now you kind of have a witch's broom. Okay. Always thinking about Halloween, right? Always thinking. So you have your inside, which is kind of the white and the red stripes, and then you have the plaid on the outside, which is kind of cool. So then I'm just going to kind of roll that around just to kind of secure the tape. We're going to do some more, and then that comes out, and then you have this. So this is where she put, you know, she threaded some string through here and then added beads and things like that. So you do have that loop there if you want to use it that way. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do something a wee bit different than that. I'm going to grab a little bit of score tape, and I'm going to put this around. Maybe I should cut it. Okay. And then I'm going to grab a piece of kind of thinnish ribbon. So I had this left over from the project. I used some stuff for this. And I'm going to just loop this right there. I'm going to just do that. And then I'm going to put a piece kind of on the opposite side, I think. Maybe a little bit longer. Doesn't matter. It's whatever is pleasing to you. Okay. So that'll be kind of my hanger. Oops, I probably should put it straight. So I'm going to do that. Okay. And again, there's like, you can do all kinds of different things, but making the main tassel, that's how you do it. And it's just super easy. Okay, so now we can use this as a hanger, and I'm also going to tie a bow around the top, and that'll kind of close that off, and it'll put a pretty little bow at the top. It'll be really cute. All right, so then I'm going to start. I got this ribbon that's kind of a leftover piece. I'm going to trim that a little bit, and then I'm going to put this down. Now, I have score tape on there because that's how I glued that down, glued these pieces down, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reinforce it with some art glitter glue. And I'm just going to wrap this around and glue that down. The art glitter glue will totally reinforce everything. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit more glue here and wrap that around. It's turning out cute. Okay, I'm just going to go around a little bit more. I'm going to trim my ribbon. So I'm going to just cut that right there, I think. And you will get glue on you, but it's okay. And just hold that down there and set. Okay, I am back, and the tassel is nice and dry. So I just glued the ribbon around it, and it just makes a cute little topper. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can use lace, you can use layers, you can do, you know, beads through the top, however you want to do it. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. I made this little loop so that we can hang it, and then I tied a bow around the base of it, and I just did a simple tassel. So you can just add that as you wish to, you know, your album spines, and it just makes a really cute little decoration. So that's basically how you make that. Go check out Treasure Book's tutorial as well, and she'll show you how to do the beads and everything. And she does a really good job with that, so I'm not going to recreate. And we used Echo Park's Let Freedom Ring, and it's just a very beautiful, fun, bright colored 4th of July Independence Day themed paper collection. I just love it. I did make a shaker frame for this using a 4x6 cut apart. On this one, I used foam tape. I'm going to have a tutorial because after I made this, I came up with another idea on how to not use foam tape for a shaker. And so anyways, I'm going to have a tutorial for that coming up, so stay tuned for that. Used flowers and everything from Country Craft Creations. The ribbons, the beads here, and the charms were from my stash, but the flowers and everything, Country Craft Creations. So go check them out at countrycraftcreations.com. So you have your tie closure here. Again, the ribbons from my stash. You open it up, and you have the kind of the infinity card book that we made with the bookmark closure. You have your slider closure here with your Staggered Waterfalls. So that was fun to play with. We have our double explosion book here in the middle, and then we have the riff on the infinity card, so my infinity card booklet here. So 3 books in this folio and a beautiful waterfall, and you have your shaker, and I just think it's really beautiful and patriotic, and I just love how it turned out. So Bobbie, I really hope you like it. I tried really hard. I know you're the queen of folios, and I just really wanted to make this beautiful for you. So I hope you like it. I hope you all enjoyed the tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.